What we do here is go back.
How's it going, everyone, and welcome to episode 27 of the Lost Media Podcast. Today we're talking about Big Bug Man. This was a movie starring Marlon Brando and Brendan Fraser, and it was meant to be released in 2004, and then it got pushed back to 2006. It's probably going to be released 2006, it's pushed back to 2008. Oh no, it'll still be released, that's fine. It's cancelled. This never got released, obviously, that's why it's hence Lost Media in the title. And it's Marlon Brando's last ever film role, the last performance he ever did. A very famous actor, one of the most famous actors ever in film history. And for his last ever role to not be released is quite a travesty. It's a shame. They haven't even released his voice acting work properly. There's only bits and pieces of it from a news report. That's it. And of course, Brendan Fraser, he's redone his career recently. He's completely resurrected himself as an actor. So there's just multiple reasons why this movie should be released. Even just the audio with, storyboard art. That's fine. That'll do. But Big Bug Man, I'm pretty sure none of it was animated, actually. I think there was only storyboard art and voice acting done. I don't think there was any animation done for this movie. And that's why it's hence Lost Media for just the audio and just, animation storyboard art, not animation, done for this movie. It's a real shame. The plot centers around a candy factory worker who gets bitten by bugs, and he's just a mild-mannered, just soft-spoken guy. But then all of a sudden he gets superpowers from being bitten by these bugs, and he's gonna save the candy factory. I don't know where the plot centers on from there. I don't know how the story progresses, is what I'm trying to say. I know that Marlon Brando was offered the role of the evil candy company owner, Nicholas Dunderbeck, who runs Mrs. Sour Candy Company. But instead, he chose the role of Mrs. Sour, who's the founder and leader of the company. And when they went to record at his house, he was dressed as Mrs. Sour in real life, wearing lipstick and a dress and everything. Apparently, he always wanted to play a female character in his whole career, and this was his final chance, obviously, to even act in anything. So he was like, this is awesome. This is a great opportunity for me to play a female character. And he's doing voice acting in his house for this movie, and he's on oxygen in between takes. Like, this is how close he was to dying and how poor his health was. So it's really awesome to see this. But we don't get to see it because it's Lost Media. Just to hear clips from it in this news report that I'll put in the description and hear bits and pieces from his voice acting in this, I like it. I think it's quite special. It's just a huge shame that his last film role and the most fun he had filming a movie since Julius Caesar, he was quoted for saying that. This is the most fun I've had making a movie since I did Julius Caesar. Ridiculous. Just some little voice acting role for a little animated film that never got off the ground. There is storyboard art of the movie that I'm looking at right now and all the different characters. And it's just, I kind of like the animation style of this. I kind of like what they were going for. I think this could have been a little cult classic if it kept going. But for whatever reason, and we don't actually know, it just stopped being made. It was actually a bigger budget movie. But they just ceased production. And one of the most frustrating pieces of this Lost Media, when I've been trying to research for this topic, is there's not much information about it. All you know is Brendan Fraser plays the lead. Marlon Brando is doing his last voice acting or any kind of acting role. It's 1 month before he died that all this was recorded. And I think it was only a few days of the film crew going to his house to record the voice acting. When you listen back to the voice acting in that newsreel about this movie, it doesn't sound great, I will be honest. And I think that's part of the reason why it wouldn't have been much of the reason why they scrapped it. The budget for this was $20 million. You may have just seen me see that in the corner of my eye on the screen. Not enough for an animated movie, I would say. It's enough, but $20 million budget, there's not a lot you can really do with that. And I think it's kind of a shame, really, that a movie that seemingly had such a cool concept and had a good cast couldn't get off the ground supposedly because of budget issues, is what I'm guessing. I genuinely think I've just cracked the code, guys. I looked at the budget and I cracked the code. I saw it in the corner of my eye and I was like, yeah, that's it. That's Big Bug Man. This is what I have to do when I'm given such little information about a movie and what happened with it. That's all I can really say about this movie. It's such a big shame that it never got released. You know what? Screw this. Does Wikipedia have more information than the Lost Media Wiki? I've got the Wikipedia open right now because it has all the list of the characters' names in order in the one spot. The Lost Media Wiki uses like characters in the paragraph, so it's much harder to just see them right in front of you. There's all sorts of different characters and there's only 2 voice actors listed. So I'm guessing they only got voice work from Marlon Brando and Brendan Fraser, and that's it. All the other characters' voice work hadn't been done yet. There was just storyboard art done and there was nothing else. That's it. Very strange. And the test animation. What the Lost Media Wiki said, that's a bloody weird angle, was basically all I've said. It tells little details about the movie itself. It tells little details about the characters and Marlon Brando, and that's it. Basically, what the Wikipedia says is Mrs. Sow is only in 3 scenes. So it took a day. It didn't take a few days. I'm misquoted there. Wikipedia, guys, has beaten me on facts. This is what happens when you record a podcast all in one go. And you got to get everything right all in one go and make no mistakes. Wikipedia beats you. Brando thought it would be fun to voice the old lady Mrs. Sauer instead of Nicholas Dunderbeck, the evil character of the film, which was the role he was offered. Obviously, he chose the more fun role. Why wouldn't you? Everything it says here is the same shit as the Lost Media Wiki. Other than Bernd Bendiston believes this part was humorous. This is a guy that's involved in production, I'm guessing. The Bob Bendiston, the writer of the film. The Bob Bendiston. About halfway through, he took off the wig because he was getting too hot. According to the film's executive producer, Gabriel Grunfeld, gee, this has been a long day, Brando described the part as being the most fun I've had since Julius Caesar. There you go. Even though Marlon Brando was frail, he was full of energy and invention. See, what a legend. He died the next month on the 1st of July 2004, and it was filmed on the 10th of June, or was recorded rather, 2004. So literally 3 weeks later, and he's on oxygen 6 hours a day. Don't you wish this movie was released? I actually think there was issues with his audio recordings because you listen back to it and it's not great to listen to. And I hate saying that, but in terms of technicals and what it sounded like technically, it's no good. But it's not terrible. It's just, I'm guessing it was just plagued with so many issues. I hate it personally, guys, when there's a lost media case and you just don't get any information on why it was cancelled, you know, why you can't listen to all the voice work. Obviously, it's being held by the studio because that's a common practice in Hollywood with unreleased movies. They just don't release anything from the movie, especially when it's something that people want and it's like a landmark thing. Brando's last ever film role, his last ever performance for a movie. They go, oh no, his most recent thing before this was technically his last thing. You just go watch that. That's literally what they'd probably say. And in reality, it's this, and we want to see it. It's just painful lost media. I'll probably describe this in the title as painful lost media. Maybe not. I don't know. Painful lost media is when on the Lost Media podcast, I research a topic and there's only 2 sentences per page on a topic. And this is why this hasn't been covered much on YouTube. If you go on YouTube and you look for Big Bug Man and different people covering it, it's nowhere. It's nowhere to be seen, guys. You can't find it anywhere. I'm actually going to deduce that Brendan Fraser's voice acting, this is again speculation and hearsay and just guesswork. I don't think Brendan Fraser's voice work was done. I think the only work that was done on Big Bug Man was that day of recording at Brando's house and some storyboard art. I think it never eventuated from that, and that was it. In which case, release all that's been recorded. Release all of Brando's voice work. Put it in a documentary of sorts about his career. Play all of it. There wouldn't be that much, really, to be released in one day of recording. You could edit it all together and it'd still be considered found media. You could do that. You don't have to include everything, like all the stuff ups and all the other bits. That's fine. But until then, his voice work is lost and his last ever film role is lost. And that's a huge shame, I think, for such a decorated actor on the waterfront, raging. No, that's Robert De Niro. On the Waterfront was like Raging Bull. It's a similar movie. The Godfather. There you go. The Godfather Part 2. Not The Godfather Part 3, though. He wasn't in that one, I don't think. Unless he was. You guys can correct me in the comments about Marlon Brando's career. Apocalypse Now. So many great movies, guys. They're all fantastic. I'm really good at pronouncing all of them. And his last ever film role. Tell me if you think this movie would have been good in the comments. Tell me if, from what you've seen, what you can see of it, from the animation style you see in the description and online, there is something I just remembered about this movie that you can correct me on as well, guys. If you're someone who knows an awful lot about this somehow, I don't know how you would. There's not a lot of information about it. But I actually think I heard once that this was cancelled due to the animation style being so dated and animation improving so much more, obviously the budget, and just that being not good enough for what animation was becoming by 2004. There's movies like The Incredibles coming out, even stuff that came out before that, Finding Nemo, Shrek 2 was coming out around this time. And you look at that animation style for Big Bug Man, it's like, But everything has its own place. But around that time, they were trying to innovate quite a bit. And yeah, more of a story, this one, about the voice acting than anything else. The plot and the animation style isn't important, but I actually think I might have just remembered that is why Big Bug Man never got off the ground. The dating animation style, which would be a shame because I do like it. From the storyboard art that's been released and the screenshots and the poster of Big Bug Man. Very strange that a poster would be made before anything else. But anyway, I do like what's been made. Maybe there was some animation done. The fact that a poster was made, maybe some animation was done. You guys can deduce this better than me because I'm struggling right now. That's a word that's frequent on the Lost Media podcast. Deduce. That was Big Bug Man. I tried my best to unfurl the mystery of this movie. Suggest more topics in the comments. I need more topics. I'm dying here, guys. I'm really dying. But until then, I will be gone. There are more episodes. I'm joking. I will not be gone. I'll keep uploading until I have 0 topics and 0 energy to upload anymore. I'm going to keep going on this channel. Suggest more in the comments. And until next time, bye-bye. Fucking awful.